When you auditioned for Saturday Night Live, I could imagine the pressure when you fucking walked in for that audition, man.
I did throw up.
You're getting up on stage, a cold room.
I was terrified.
Terrified. I was doing my thing and I ain't had no laughter.
Hey, just to let you know, Lorne Michaels ain't gonna laugh at you now.
Did you tank that night?
Death, humiliation, and then depression.
Was the goal always to be on Saturday Night Live? When you were a little girl, did you watch Saturday Night Live and say, that's my career?
Yeah. But I think a lot of people do, right? They dream of being on Saturday Night Live.
I wanted to be on Saturday Night Live. It's the only reason I did stand-up.
Your whole goal was, I'll put together a couple of minutes, do it for Lorne Michaels.
Yeah.
And then I'll audition and I'll get on Saturday Night Live.
But I used to do like the church lady and things that like would make sense. Like why would you need two church ladies?
Who needs you?
Yeah, exactly.
We already got
Worthless.
that.
I'm thinking like Lauren was gonna call and say, "You know, Jimmy Dane is sick. I know there's a lot of talent in Socrates, New York."
You would literally dream about being friends with people on Saturday Night Live.
Oh, yeah.
That's how badly you wanted it.
And it was not like old cast members. It would be like Poehler and Parnell and people like that. And so when we got hired, they were like, hey, how's it going? I'd be like, I dreamed this.
I know all about this.
Yeah.
I used to like make videos of myself walking out of the bathroom and going like Bobby Moynihan, like
doing the Don Pardo voice.
Yeah, like
what was it
always.
like the first time you heard Don Pardo actually say your name?
I burst into tears.
Did you?
Yeah.
You're this kid from Canada.
Hull, Quebec, sir. Hull, Quebec.
And
yes.
you get into Second City in Canada. Then you go to Second City in Chicago.
Yes, we swapped companies in 1974. So Gilda and Candy and myself came down to do the American show in Chicago.
You know, in a way, Lorne's brilliance was, let me go check out Second City and pick off who I like, right?
Which he still does.
I got to learn in Chicago at Second City.
I was in an improv comedy group called The Groundlings.
UCB was this sketch group that was performing in Chicago at the time.
These guys from Chicago started an improv theater that was like Second City in Amsterdam, Holland. And I moved to Amsterdam for 2 years.
Is it like the guy in America who can't get into American medical school and he goes to Mexico for medical school?
Now that you say it, it probably looked that way to my peers.
I did a HBO Young Comedian special.
I done the Tonight Show, Letterman. I was on a show called All That.
I sent a tape in.
Barry Katz said, yo, you got to see this fat black dude with a propeller hat. He's funny.
And I think it's so unusual how you got the job on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, Megan Mullally. And her husband is Nick Offerman. His brother, Matt Offerman, and I were in a group together. And so they went to go see his brother's show.
She sees you, and she calls NBC and says, you got to come see this guy.
She saw that show. She talked to Lorne. I went out and met Lorne. And I just thought, well, this is a story I'll tell my grandkids. I, honest to God, didn't think anything was going to come out of it.
You get a little role in a movie with Bill Hader, Trainwreck. And Hader says to Lorne, I met this kid. He's funny. You should put him on Saturday Night Live.
That's what I was told.
Were you like, I'm not even ready for this?
I was like, dude, that's a bad idea. I was like, have you ever recommended anybody? I was like, I don't think I should be your first one. I was like, you should definitely.
You can recommend someone else.
I was like, dude, that's a bad idea.
Who got you the audition? Chris Rock?
Chris did.
He did.
He saw me at the Comedy Store one late night doing a spot, and he was like, yep, she's next level. She's ready.
He literally wrote down your name, right?
Mm-hmm.
He said, hey, you're funny.
In his Funny People book.
And I guess he went to Lorne Michaels at some point and said, here's somebody funny.
I was like, why the fuck would you do that? I am not a sketch guy. What the fuck, Chris? I don't do that shit.
Right. You're a stand-up.
What the fuck am I going to do? I'm a fucking stand-up. I'm not going to be able to do that shit. He said, shut the fuck up. Go out there and do stand-up. I want to hear this shit. And he hung up.
I wanted to somehow be on TV, but I thought it was going to be through drumming. I was playing drums for Blue Man Group.
Wow.
And that, I actually thought I'd made it. I was like, wow, this is it.
Then you say, I'm going to go be a comedy guy?
It happened like this. I started making videos.
Oh.
1998, I went to the music festival and I interviewed bands as different characters. And this videotape that I made just kind of made the rounds. That's where I could feel something was happening.
Me and Kevin Yorm, the way that we got the audition at SNL was we were writing on the MTV Movie Awards for Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah, this is a crazy story.
We wrote the pre-tape stuff. You know, he does like put himself in Star Wars or
Right.
put himself in Batman, and we wrote some of those.
And he recommended you to Lorne.
He did, and it was because he heard me in the temp of the video that they wanted to show him to be like, what do you think of this? And I was doing his stuff.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my God, Batman, we gotta go, you know. yeah.
Right,
And he was like, who's this kid?
I actually had one audition at the comic strip in New York, and it was awful. My set was bad.
Did Lorne come too?
Yeah.
And did you get word that they passed on you?
Yeah, it was awful. It was depressing because you go, like, because he came in and I did my troll bit. I had all these different comedians talking about this troll doll. That was all I had. I didn't have an act. That was the best I could do.
And now you're destroyed because Tracy Morgan got it.
Yeah.
Did Tracy Morgan audition at the same club as you?
Yes.
Did you know that night you were being considered?
I didn't know nothing, man. I just knew I had 3 kids and a wife on welfare. and I was doing my thing. Fuck that, I have nothing to lose, man.
And they asked for a tape of 5 characters, and I spent all my waitressing money making my tape, and I got passed over. And I remember being on a payphone. They weren't going to see me. I cried and cried. But then I thought, I'm just going to work really hard on my show, create characters, work, write, perform, so that when they come back again, I'm going to be like locked and loaded and ready. And then sure enough, they came back 5 years later, and I was like, I'm not giving you a tape. You got to see the live show. And it went great.
I'd auditioned at the Comedy Store, 20 comedians stacked, and I followed Kennison. No MC, just, and now Dana Flarno. Right after, and this was prime Kennison.
Did you tank that night?
Death. Humiliation.
Yeah.
And then depression.
Dana Carvey was renting the room over our garage in the Hollywood Hills.
So he was a friend of yours?
He was a friend of mine. And then he got on the show that summer. Right. And then Dana calls me from Lorne's house one day in Amagansett. He says, "You're never going to believe this. They're looking for one more guy on the show. Paul Simon's in the other room. Dan Aykroyd." You're kidding me. You're kidding me. He said, "They're looking for another guy." So I sent him my tapes. And then he calls me like a week later. "I think they like your tape. By the way, Steve Martin's in the other room." Are you kidding me? Now I'm getting excited. I'm thinking, well, maybe this can happen.
It's a big break.
So I fly in. And of course, you know, like this business, you think it's just going to be you and a couple other people. Right. And you get on the plane, like everybody's going to New York to audition. The pilot comes out. Hey, you think this is funny?
I'll be auditioning later for Saturday Night Live. You auditioned for Saturday Night Live, right? You had
all
to.
Of us did,
you
sure.
had to. Gilda did, Chevy,
we all did.
of them.
Mm-hmm.
I raise gators, I raise crabs, I raise whatever can be raised down there. Whatever can be raised on the swamps.
You do it right on the, when you watch the show, the guest host, you audition on that stage, and there's some cameras filming you via satellite to NBC.
Oy vey. That's got to be a ton of pressure.
Yeah, it is.
You sit on those sessions where they choose the new cast.
Yep.
Does it get numbing after a while when you're looking at endless comedians?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the hardest thing for people who audition for SNL is the night they do it, like 20 other people are doing it.
So crazy. Like, Kel was there, so I'm auditioning against my buddy.
On my way out, they go, "Sorry, Jimmy, sorry to bother you, but this guy has to go ahead of you. He has another audition. Come here, Alan." And this guy, Alan, walks by with a keyboard and wigs, a box full of wigs. I go, I'm screwed, man. I have nothing.
I get in the elevator, and the next to me is a guy with tons of props. And I go, I don't have any props.
And who was the guy who had the props?
Andy Samberg. That's when I met Andy Samberg. And he told me, he was looking at me, he's like, "Oh, that guy doesn't need props."
You physically threw up.
I did throw up.
Because it's something you wanted so badly.
Yeah, to walk into that studio and you're like, and now you're meeting Lorne, and you've just heard Lorne's name 8 million times, and then there he is right in front of you. Yeah.
There was a table, and it's kind of in the darkness, and there's one single light on Lorne, and you can see him, and you know he's there.
Oh, my God.
And
an audience of one.
Well, in my mind, you know what I mean? Like, it's like there was a spotlight on just him.
First I see Lorne come in, then I see Brandon Tartikoff, president of the network at the time,
boy.
and then Cher.
I wonder why Lorne brought Cher with him for the audition.
Just to make me more nervous. See if you can do it with Cher.
The girls were coming out shell-shocked. And I'm like, what's going on in there? So as soon as I got into the corridor where we were going, I thought to myself, oh, this is the Comedy Store at 2 o'clock at night. Hell yeah, I'm about to rip this motherfucker. So I got on stage, and there was empty chairs in the front. I was like, that's not how I work. Let's go. Everybody move to the front. I need that fucking energy. And
So
everybody
Lorne
moved up to the front.
Who gave the best audition you ever saw?
Kristen Wiig.
I was terrified. And they were really adamant about like the 5-minute thing. They're like, you don't go over 5 minutes. And I thought all the lights were going to go out, and I bought like a stopwatch.
The network, it was the first time the network said, "We're moving in, this show's a disaster, and we're gonna help cast, and here's our little guy. We want him."
Never try to break up a barroom brawl. Whack! Come on, man,
You were the favorite of the network.
Yes.
And you were forced on Lorne Michaels.
Correct.
Aha.
He said, "You have to write 2 sketches, do 2 celebrities, and do 2 characters." And so I said to Lorne,
"Great.
Are you paying for the trip back home?" Because I knew I couldn't do it. And Lorne always got a kick out of me because he knew everything about show business and I knew nothing.
Right.
And I didn't want to waste his time, you know.
Most people take the opposite attitude. I'll come up with something.
I didn't give a shit because I was like, I'm not getting this. I don't do characters. I can only do stand-up. This is all characters.
You've never done an impression?
No, I don't know how to do those.
You did 4.5 minutes of dick jokes.
Yeah, it was all about my mom and my dick.
What did you do?
I went on. I was funny. That's what the fuck I did.
Did you do
I made
impressions?
the right motherfucker no. I left it in God's hands. He didn't give me impressions when he blessed me with this gift. He gave me funny.
I started cheesing on everybody, ratting on everybody. Well, my cousin had the gun. Yeah, I had the red shirt. My cousin, Anthony Tarrant. T, your TR.
They said, we don't want to see the troll, though. We saw the troll bit.
Yeah.
All right?
It's probably the only thing he does.
Yeah. So I did a celebrity walkathon.
Well, how'd that go?
I mean, why don't we just take a bus? It's a busathon.
I did Alan Rickman in Die Hard.
What does he fucking sound like?
McLean. Thank you.
It was Nathan Lane for the Hamburger Society. Something peculiar, something for everyone. Eat a hamburger tonight. And that was it. It was the dumbest joke in the world.
Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel?
I don't know why.
How do you do Vin Diesel at an audition?
Vin Diesel. There's this thing in his voice where it sounds like he's got space. Hey, wait a minute.
You did impersonations.
I did.
See, I don't know you from that.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah, but you nailed it.
Hugh Grant. This is, remember, 2001. A lot of people have been asking me, Hugh, why is it that you sort of can't, get to the end of a sentence?
You did Jimmy Stewart in your Saturday Night Live audition.
I mean, what kind of mind would do that?
And then all of a sudden, you forgot you even did Robin Williams.
For those who are nested, this is a Frisbee. Oh, look, the spaceship's coming forward.
Al Pacino trying to do his own line of pants.
Pants. Sharpton was very much like a preacher, so it gets real gusty.
Jesse, it's Al Sharpton.
Mm-hmm.
Michael J. Fox. Hey, Sarge, you gotta give me a little time on this. Christ, Mallory.
I did Donahue in Spanish, Donahue in
What is
German.
Donahue in Spanish?
Well, sea simpático conmigo.
Oh, porque mi novia es tan gorda, yo tengo PDL y direcciones, and I mean come on.
I bombed. One of the great bombs, even for me. I bombed so bad. He was even like, he even told me, he goes, well, you saved yourself from being on the air with that one. You're just a writer now, So
They tell you that Lorne doesn't laugh when you do the audition.
Oh, by the way, no one's going to laugh. It's just going to be silent.
You go in, Marcy goes, thanks for doing the audition. Just to let you know, Lorne has kind of seen it all. He might not laugh.
Hey, they don't laugh. Very quiet out there.
You go do makeup. I just want to let you know that Lorne doesn't really laugh.
They're not going to laugh. No one's going to laugh.
And the audio guy comes to put a microphone on me. Jimmy, just to let you know, Lorne doesn't really laugh. I go, what is this guy's problem?
I did Chop and Broccoli in a couple voices. Is there anything else that you can do for us here? And it's dead silent.
The last one I do was Adam Sandler.
why don't you go to the store with your mother?
Lorne laughed.
Right. You gotta laugh.
Yeah, he put his head in his hand and he started laughing, and I go like, how cool is that?
You knew you nailed it.
Yeah.
Does Lorne say anything at the end of it, or do you just go off not knowing?
It's just like, it was like a sound.
Really?
Yeah.
And that's got to be an incredible blow to your ego.
Yeah, you have no idea what. Yeah, and then you wait.
You didn't have to audition, did you?
I did, yeah.
I'm surprised because you were pretty well known at that point.
Yeah, I auditioned a few times.
It was like 5. It was like almost 6 auditions.
They told me the network just wants to see you a second time, but you can pretty much just do the same stuff. You'll be fine. And I was like, oh, okay, that'll be easy. I'll just redo it. The day before it, I got tipped off like, hey, don't do all the same stuff.
Right.
And I was like, oh, shit, I have to write a whole new audition in 2 days.
What did you do? What did you come up with 2 days before?
Well, the thing that I came up with that never existed before, that is the dumbest shit ever, but apparently is what clinched me the show, according to Lorne.
Yeah.
I had gone to a flea market and bought these really tiny, like old 70s jogging shorts.
Yeah.
I was an out-of-breath jogger from the 80s.
Oh, man. Gorbachev's got Reagan on the ropes, I'll tell you that.
I have a definite recollection of him saying the phrase, like, well, maybe we'll start you in January.
And you probably pissed your pants.
Well, I went home and almost immediately the writer's strike happened.
So you don't hear anything?
I just literally just sat there like in limbo waiting.
14 months.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
When the writer's strike ended, they called me up and they said Maya Rudolph had a baby during the writer's strike, so we have to hire a girl.
Oh, my God. Poor you.
I was like, it's over. That's it.
They were like, Lorne wants to meet you. You're meeting Lorne. This is it. Like, that's what he does. You go in and he hires you. I go in his office and I'm so intimidated and he's just talking about Chevy Chase and he's just talking about the show and I'm like looking around and he's just like, we don't have room for you right now, but blah, blah. And I was like, oh, okay. The season premiere started and I was like, well, I don't think I got it. And then it was after like the third show and they're like, you are hired. Can you be here tomorrow and watch the show from the wings on Saturday? And then you start next week. And I was like, sure.
Usually when someone's really good, Lorne sort of keeps them around New York for a couple days.
Right.
And brings them in. It's more like a personality vet at that point than
Right.
anything else. You just want to make sure somebody's not like batshit crazy. Well, Lorne always says, don't hire someone you don't want to run into at 3 a.m.
Now you're going to come in and meet Lorne. You go into his office.
I went through, like, if he asks you how your day was, what do you say? And you say, it was great, because I want to seem positive. Like, oh, yeah.
Right.
I don't know what I was expecting, but I felt almost like I was on a first date. Like, he was like, where'd you grow up? What's your family like? You know,
Do you
like,
ask
all
him
this
questions
stuff.
about himself?
Well, he was like, are you a fan of the show? And I was like, I can probably tell you every host and musical guest in order, or every cast member in order. Like, I was like, I'm a maniac.
Oh, so you're nuts.
Yeah, exactly.
He was like, I think you're really funny, but you're really young, and I think you would get eaten alive here. And I was like, you're right. I don't think so either. No, I was like,
That's
seriously.
great. He probably liked that you said
I
you're
think
right.
so. I was like, you're so right. Like, thank you so much for this meeting. I'm just like honored that I get to like meet with you. And he was like, that's all you have to say? I was like, yeah. I was like, what am I going to say? I was on Wild and Out.
What are you going to say? Like a fight for my job?
Yeah, this guy's worth
How
$500 million.
the fuck did they give you that job if you said, you're right, I don't have the ability to be on this show?
I got a call the week before. Lorne said, hey, I don't really know what to do with you. Let's try it out.
I think I was a rock thrown through the window. I think they didn't expect me. He basically was like, I don't know what to do with you, but you need to be here.
I had a meeting in his office. When that meeting was over, I had the job, but I had no idea because Lorne is very cryptic.
Lorne shook your hand.
Yeah.
And was like, hey, great job, which means in Lorne language, you've got the job.
Yes, I didn't know that yet.
So he gave you the job and you didn't know you had the job.
He is not a direct person.
The first 50 times you talk to him, you're like, what the fuck is going on?
In the meeting, this is why I didn't know I had the job. Lorne said, so, we're going to want to do a wig test. And see how you look in wigs. And so I just left the meeting thinking that was the next thing to happen. Never had the wig test. I've never, in the years that I was there, no one had a wig test. I don't know where he even came up with it.
Did you ever sit him down and go, Lorne, I'm curious. Why did you say I should have a wig test?
I never asked him. Although I will say in my years at the show, I did look bad in wigs.
Any of the guys you auditioned with who didn't get the job, did any of them go on to become famous?
George W. Bush.
Bush was auditioned and became the president, first governor and then president. Wow.
Jim Carrey had come in that day, levitated the room, brilliant. And I thought, oh, God, no way I'm getting this.
This is my Saturday Night Live audition, post-nuclear Elvis. You can do anything but other than blue suede shoes.
Kevin Hart auditioned the year I auditioned.
Oh, really?
The toughest room to audition for in my life. Lorne is eating popcorn, and you just hear noise like, You just keep hearing that.
I can't believe that audition process. It's hard to get
Sweat's
left.
dripping down the crack of your ass.
Yeah, but it's a dry room.
Yes.
Do you
very
remember
dry.
what you did in that audition?
I did an impression of Avery Johnson, who nobody knew.
Great.
Nobody in the room knew.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is my best one. My Avery Johnson impression was my best impression.
What do? Do you go in and do something from The Office?
I just did stand-up jokes. I played Ben Affleck, passive-aggressively talking to Matt Damon after Matt Damon was 20 minutes late to meet him for coffee. I actually thought I did pretty well.
You had your big meeting with Lorne Michaels.
Yeah.
And he has candy on his desk.
Yeah.
You swear that you didn't get that Saturday Night Live job because you ate the candy off his desk.
Well, I was a little high.
You showed up high for the meeting with Lorne?
A little bit. And it was another weird moment because I'm sitting there with Lorne Michaels and he's like looking at me in the eyes weird to the point where Higgins, the head writer, Higgins goes, Lorne, and he's like, you can tell a lot from looking in someone's eyes.
Uh-oh.
So now I'm sitting there like trying to exude starness.
I wonder if Lorne kicks himself that he didn't sign the ones that get away.
I think Lorne also likes that that's part of the mystique of SNL is that sometimes they got it wrong.
I want to say the decision was 100% correct in not casting me.
I started 2 weeks after September 11th. Everybody was like, is comedy dead? And I was like, can we just wait one more year before it's dead?
Great. What was it like the first time you went out on stage?
It was a JetBlue sketch. I was a psychologist, and I remember so clearly when the red light came on, the first thought in my head was, everyone can see me right now. If you watch it, my fist is
clenched.
All my nerves are just clenched up.
You don't really know till they're out there. I could show you early church chats where the church lady's hand goes like that.
Yeah.
Slick wet with sweat.
Wow.
It's like you're going into a living room filled with people who have lived in this house forever, and you're just kind of like, I don't know where to sit.
You'd never written a sketch in your life.
And I go, when's the 3-week class where they go,
you
you walk in and everyone ignores you. That's your class.
I was the second cop, the second FBI agent, the guy holding the mop. Mostly because the writers don't know who the hell you are and they don't trust you.
They one time had me in a sketch to show what they thought of me on the show,
took place at a funeral, and I was the corpse.
You lay there and didn't get to do anything.
Yeah, just in case you saw a hand or a foot.
When I felt like my dad finally accepted me,
right,
I went, "Hey, I'm Joe Pesci, and this is the Joe Pesci Show." And Lorne went,
They asked me to do the update.
And that gave you confidence
That
back?
kind of was like, I think they're starting to understand where my strength is.
It was sort of the lounge singer guy, but he was in a shower. And I was singing into one of those, you ever see those silk microphone things? That was the sketch. That was when I went, got it.
Lorne Michaels, my 5th season at an after party, said, "Hey, you can work here as long as you want. Relax, please.
Yeah,
Just
right.
calm down, will you?"
Yeah, you don't have to struggle so much.
Yeah, it's like you're fine. Just have fun.
You'll be in the middle of a show and they're like, "This is cut. We're doing something else." And you have literally 47 seconds to change into a completely different outfit.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting down and thinking, like, this is what it's like to be on SNL. And then the second it ended, I went to go change my suit, and inside the pants on the suit, it said Jay Belushi. And I was just like, that's the craziest thing in the world.
It really was some of the best years of my life. Can you tell that I loved my time at SNL?
Yeah, you really did. I mean, but
I really did.
Are you feeling secure enough that you'll bring the troll bit back and actually perform it this week on your show?
I will do the troll bit.
Do the troll bit on your show. March out every one of those fucking trolls.
Like it's a big comeback special,
right.
you know?
A lot of people have been writing me. They want the troll bit.